Hello, everyone. My name is Dylan. I'm an artist as residence here at Art with a Heart in Healthcare, and today we'll be painting this piece inspired by Wassily Kandinsky. He was an abstract artist. With all these colors he would see while listening to different instruments. So I do feel like that is very important to listen to music and create art at the same time. And look what happens. So we're going to start. I taped off my border. I went ahead and draw all these squares. You don't have to do these many squares if you don't want to. I just wanted to give you guys lots of different ways and different mediums you can use. Watercolors. I need a couple of brushes, water, pencil, oil pastels, or crayons, either one. See, yep, twistable crayons. Markers, color pencils. I have some Sharpies. This is tempera paint. It's washable paint. Or you can use acrylic. Just wear an apron because it will stain clothes. And yeah, let's see. I'm going to start off with the top, and I'm going to work my way to the bottom. Start with this first square. Maybe I'll do... let's do watercolors. The more water you use, the lighter the color. The less water you use, the darker the color. So if you do make a mistake, even though this is very abstract, you can always wet the area again and then use a paper towel, dab right on top, and it'll remove the color or make it lighter. Either one. Okay, so I'm gonna do blue, red. Let's see. Very patriotic. Yeah, and you guys can use as many colors as you want. Trying to think if there's like a specific amount of color he does in each square. Probably 5 or 6, but you can obviously do more or less. This is your piece. And like I said, it's very abstract too, so it doesn't have to look like anything specific, even though it looks like maybe a heat sensor once you cut an avocado in half, or slice of cake, depending on how many layers you have. But yeah, I like to just fill in the empty space once I feel like I'm good on the ovals and circles. Let's see, now I'm going to use a different medium. Oh, let me fix this, actually. Fix it. All right, let's see. I'm going to try oil pastels now. It's a lot like crayons, but it's a lot more thick and waxier, and you can actually take like a paper towel or piece of paper, and you could smudge it to make it nice and smooth. That's the cool part about oil pastels, but it will make your fingers messy, just to let you know. And you can blend with oil pastels too. So that's another cool thing. So you could take an orange and yellow and mix them together, and you can make a lighter orange. That's just one example. But yeah, you can blend oil pastel, smooth it out. That way you don't see any of the paper show. But yeah, I think it's very important to use all different mediums while as an artist. That way you become more well-rounded. I went to art school for about 5 years, studio art major, so I did painting, drawing, printmaking, photography, animation, digital, illustration, ceramics, sculpture, lots of different mediums. Because you never know. And you could mix, like this piece. So this would be mixed media, since I'm using more than one medium. Another cool thing with abstract art is collage. So I don't know if you can get magazines anywhere, but if you do have yourself some magazines laying around that you don't look at anymore, you can cut out images and incorporate those with this piece or another piece. But that's a lot of fun as well, collage. I usually do collage with like a paint, acrylic paint. This one I'm using color pencils. Just trying to make sure I cover up all that white empty space. Try to stay clean. I'm going to try not to get into the other squares with these colors. Make it nice and clean. Okay, now let's see. What am I going to use for the next square? Probably, let's see. Probably use the tempera paint, possibly. Let's see. Nope, I'm gonna do markers. Change my mind. This is alcohol-based markers, which are a little bit different than Crayola markers. These you can blend with too. It has a fat side and a small side. And these are a lot of fun to use, but just make sure you have another piece of paper underneath because these markers will bleed through, kind of like Sharpies. I tend to not use markers. It's a little unsettling to me because the cap color is always different from the actual color of the marker itself. So I like to have like another sheet of paper to test colors before I use it. So that's another thing you guys can do if you're not sure what it'll look like when you apply it to the paper. Now I'm doing tempera paint, which is washable. It has like a little bit of acrylic in it, but it's mixed with a lot of water. So if you get on your skin or a surface or your clothes, it should come off with soap and water. Magic paint. But yeah, like I said earlier, you could use acrylic paint too. Just be careful. Make sure it doesn't get on your clothes. You definitely want to make sure you wear an apron while you're using acrylic paint or wearing clothes that you don't really care about. It'll come off great off the skin. I use hot water and soap to get off acrylic. Sometimes it'll stay for like a day or two, but as long as you keep washing the area, it'll finally disappear. So yeah. Yeah, with tempera paint, you don't need to wet the brush first too, since like I said, it makes a lot of water. If you use lots of water with tempera paint, you'll turn it into watercolors, which was what we used in the top first square. So yeah, you don't need to use water with tempera. Acrylic, you could use water if you feel like it's a little stiff, or you can buy a medium that kind of makes it a little bit looser and easier to use, depending on what kind of surface you're painting on. This is paper, but you could do it on canvas. He did it on canvas. But this is paper. So now I'm using Sharpie markers. So definitely make sure you have another piece of paper underneath. I have this paper material on top of this table in this video. But yeah, just be very careful. Yeah. And you can also use an extra piece of paper to see what colors to test out the Sharpies as well. And yeah, so with this one, I'm kind of not trying to make the ovals perfect. I'm kind of distorting it, making it bigger on one side, small on the other side. So yeah, like I said, abstract. This artist, he didn't start making art until he was like 30 years old. He wanted to be a lawyer. So I started making art when I was like 8. Well, it was earlier than that, but you couldn't tell. It was very abstract. You couldn't tell what things were. So I tell people 8 because you could tell a difference and see what I was actually creating. But yeah, he started very, very late in his career making art. Trying to think of how many pieces he made. I know it was a lot. Trying to remember how many. I know it was over 100 pieces of art. And that's the other thing I want to mention as I'm doing this square with watercolors. With art, I feel like it's very important that you do it consistently. Like you just keep on doing, like I'm here Monday through Friday working with patients at the hospital, making art with them and their families from 10 to 4, but that doesn't stop when I get home. I do even more art. And the other thing is I don't say no. So, and look at something and say to myself, yeah, I can't do this. I'll give it a shot no matter what. That's the other important thing to keep in mind. As an artist, or if you want to start being an artist, just try your best. That's all that matters. And there's stuff out there like our Facebook page. Me and a couple other artists here at this program have made tons of different videos with different tutorials using different mediums that you can watch and follow along to learn as well. But when I was growing up, I had lots of how to draw books, how to draw animals, dinosaurs, superheroes, anything. Anime characters, which I still need to practice. But yeah, nowadays you can go on YouTube and watch someone do that. But I liked going to the library and physically checking out the book or buying the book, So there's lots of resources out there that you guys can use. I think when I was younger, I traced a lot too. That helped me with a steady hand. So tracing helped growing up, as well as the how to draw books. You can also, with this piece, combine different mediums in one square. Like, I think in this one, I started with oil pastels, and now I'm doing watercolors. And you can do markers. So, yeah, you don't have to do watercolors just in one square. You don't have to do markers just in one square. You can combine in the square. So that's the other cool part about this project that I want to throw out there for you guys. But yeah, just takes practice. More and more you do something, the better you get. Lots of failures to get to a success. But yeah. Lots of our artists that started out were self-taught too. So, and a lot of them started at a really young age as well. So, the other cool thing about art is it's not like math. If you get an equation wrong in math, you're wrong. But there's no such thing in art. There's no right or wrong answer. It's your opinion that matters. If you like it, that's okay. You like it. It's more relaxing for sure. You don't have to worry about embarrassment either. All right, last square, and then we'll be finished. Do a couple different. Oh yeah. So another cool thing is you can use crayons and watercolors. Watercolors will, if you do a crayon first, it will not stick to the crayon. So what I just showed you guys is I did a swimming pool in one of my videos on Facebook, our Facebook page, Art with Heart and Healthcare, where I did a pool. So I used a white crayon first, did the squigglies and which is the highlights in the pool, and then I used different blues with the watercolors, and it looked like a pool after I was finished. It was really cool. So yeah, watercolor doesn't stick to crayon or oil pastel. So that's another cool thing you guys can do. I was taught that by one of the other artists who used to work here. So I do love still doing that for sure. And yeah, this is it. So now I'm just going to carefully take off the tape so that I have a nice white frame. Don't use Scotch tape. I used blue. I might be Scotch. I use blue painter's tape, and that doesn't rip the paper. So just be very careful. I like ripping a little bit of it first, and then I use my finger and I kind of drag it instead of taking it full force and just ripping it off, because that will happen, which is okay. You can go back and fix it. No worries. But yeah, I like doing this. That way you don't have to buy a frame with a mat. You can save some money that way. And I also use that empty space to sign the piece. You can put a title in the middle. It's up to you. But yeah, I like having that. So thank you for watching. I hope you had a blast, and stay tuned for some more videos, and have a great day. And follow us at Art with a Heart and Healthcare. We have Facebook and Instagram and YouTube channel. Thank you.